kind of feel like people haven't had fun this week. And it's the final Village Vice before homecoming. And it's supposed to be a fun time. Good God in heaven, we wait 9 months for this sport to finally come back around. And then at the first sign of trouble, everybody loses their mind and they're just rage all the time, like they sleep in rage. So, Zach, how about we have some fun on today's show?
Yeah, whatever you want, Brad. Whatever you want. The idea of having fun sounds nice.
Okay, we're gonna try to do that. We've got our 6-pack. We're gonna have some fun with New Mexico and the logos, and we're gonna do it all out of respect because, when you disrespect an opponent, it doesn't always turn out well.
No. Last week we called Cal a poverty program, and man, did that come back to probably the coldest take on the internet that I have. And there's some cold ones out there, by the way. That's probably the coldest.
As everyone knows, what we say directly impacts the outcome of the game. And so, we're not gonna do that.
You said we were gonna have fun today.
We are gonna have fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
All right, let's move on.
We are first gonna talk about what does the game mean? What do you benefit from a game, from this game specifically? Are you gonna answer any questions? Or that's kind of been a thing throughout this week.
Yeah, to me, and I've said this a few times this week, I don't think Saturday's game against New Mexico is important in the sense of what you do. It's who you want to do it with. And I think that ranges from quarterbacks, how much does Hank Brown play versus Payton Thorne? Which wide receivers play more than they did against Cal or the same amount? We'll see. I think that'll be telling.
Yeah.
If Auburn wants to run the football more, which is I'm kind of predicting that they do, what does that true balance of Jarquez, Damari, and Jeremiah look like? Because we still don't really know the answer to that. Auburn, New Mexico's defense isn't very good. It's not. Their offense is good. They're going to score some points. But to me, Auburn should be able, like we said, going into Alabama A&M, Auburn should be able to do what they want to offensively against New Mexico, but who do they do it with? To me, that's going to be the most important thing.
Yeah. And I think it extends beyond that. I understand that reasoning and wouldn't die on the hill to argue it, but I do think that you can learn more. So Payton has never had a game where he had 4 interceptions, and people can crap on him and say all the stuff that they have said. And I understand. I look, guys, and gals, I understand you lose to New Mexico State, and some of you put stock in the bowl game, and you lose to Cal. I understand those losses all being jumbled together are bad, and they're real bad, and they're inexcusable. And I'm not debating that. All right. But Payton has never had even as much as a 3-interception game. Last year, he had a 2-interception game, I think, against Samford, and followed it up with 2 picks in the next 5 games. So what we saw last week is not the norm. And I think what happened, and I can already see there's some pushback coming from this, and that's okay. It's, again, this is.
You said we were going to have fun today. Why are we doing this?
Because this is my point.
Okay.
Saturday, if he goes out, doesn't throw any picks, looks good, you're going to have the choice. You're going to have the choice to go, well, that doesn't mean anything. It's only New Mexico. Or you're going to have the choice to go, all right, Cal probably is the outlier because it's never happened before in his career. And it's exactly the kind of game you need from your starting quarterback to go out and reestablish momentum and kind of get back on the right track again before conference play starts. I think it changes the whole attitude going into Arkansas.
Sure. Obviously you want to look good against New Mexico, and what they do is going to be interesting to see how they do it. But to me, everything you just said is factually correct. All that is stats that you just said. But to me, the most important thing, and this is the difference from last year to this year, is you want the offense to look like a modern college football offense.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with Payton Thorne last year, and the reason he didn't turn the ball over a ton during that stretch, is that's when they started running the football over and over and over again. And the offense was hardly ever on the field during some of those big games in that stretch.
Yeah.
And so to me, I don't think it's about the turnovers. To me, I think it's about, okay, Payton Thorne being asked to run the offense because weapons are now around him. Can he do it? And he wasn't able to do it. So, sure, obviously Cal, the performance against Cal and him throwing 4 picks, which really, there are other conversations that people don't like, but like it should have been a fifth one with the defensive pass interference in the end zone. And also, like, this doesn't go on Payton's stat line, but the 4th and 2 choosing to go deep instead of hit one of the two guys that were open underneath, like that's on him too. So it was actually worse than what you're calling an outlier. But maybe it is an outlier. I hope it is an outlier. And I hope he comes out slinging it and people doubt him, even though it's New Mexico. And then he does it against Arkansas and against Oklahoma and so on. I think that would be great. But I do think for you to just say like that, okay, well, he only threw, was it 2 picks in the next 5 games? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he only throws 2 picks in the next 5 games, assuming he plays the entire game, in Auburn's next 5, like that's incredible. And Auburn may win all but one of those games if that's true, if that happens. But he's got to be asked to do more for Auburn to compete against some of these teams, unlike a year ago.
And that's what I'm saying. This is kind of projecting a little bit to Saturday, but that's what I'm saying. If we see that against New Mexico, I don't know that we're going to see 40 running plays. Like I still think it's going to be as much pass as it is run. And if that's the case, and he is asked to do just as much against New Mexico as he was. Now, look, Cal would beat New Mexico 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 times, or maybe 10 out of 10. I don't know. But I understand it's not the same competition, and the defense is markedly better at Cal than it is New Mexico. But what we will have to go on in those 3 games would point to Cal being the outlier, unless they do change the offense. So my point is, I do think you can get something out of the game. You don't have to choose to wait and see against Arkansas, because then you're on a slippery slope, because then again, well, all right, well, now wait and see how they do against Oklahoma. Well, now wait and see how they do against Georgia. Like at what point in the season can you quantify this is real, this is the anomaly?
Yeah, but he hasn't really ever had a good game against an opponent. Like I'm looking at, I'm double checking your factoid about the 2 picks against Samford and then 2 picks in the next 5 games. That is correct, but it's like, okay, he didn't throw one against A&M last year, but he had 44 passing yards.
Yeah,
44 passing yards against Georgia. He threw one, just had 82 passing yards.
Yeah,
against LSU, he didn't throw one.
LSU, they were out of the game after the first quarter.
Yeah, that was a joke of a game. Ole Miss, he threw one and only had 100 passing yards.
Yeah.
Mississippi State was fine. Arkansas was like what we remember as his best game of the year last year, and he threw one there, threw 2 in the Iron Bowl. Like he hasn't really gone through a game against an opponent where he's taking care of the football. Like that's concerning. Is the Cal as many times as he did turn it over? Like how relevant is that? Is that the outlier? Maybe. I hope so, but he still hasn't gone through a game against the relevant opponent and taking care of the football.
And that's why I say that's exactly to kind of bring it full circle before we move on. That's kind of the point is he asked to do more in the passing game, which we think he's going to be, or we think whoever the quarterback is going to be asked to do more in the passing game and protect the football.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you've got 2 data points where the answer is yes and 1 of no.
How many Venmo requests does he get this weekend?
It's a great question.
I hope he deleted it.
Yeah, that'd probably be smart. Let's just set up a separate one altogether.
Yeah, a private one. Probably
like changing your phone number, change your Venmo.
Yeah.
Anybody ever send you Venmo requests after a win or a loss?
No.
Me neither. It's fine with me. Today's show is brought to you, as all Village Vice episodes are, by our friends at mybookie.ag on a related note. Right now, when you use promo code next round, just like it says there at the bottom. Yeah, next round. They're going to, the deposit bonus we're talking about is doubling your initial deposit.
How are they staying open?
Well,
that's my question.
A lot of people making bad bets is how they do that. The house finds a way to win. You ever seen those buildings out there in Vegas? Woo! Anyway, they're going to double your initial deposit. Make good bets. You're going to be different when you go to mybookie.ag. Kick off the football season with our friends at MyBookie. Okay, Zach, New Mexico, the Lobos.
Right. What is a Lobo?
A Lobo is a wolf.
Okay.
That's the Spanish word for Lobos is Spanish for wolves.
Okay.
Did you know there was also an early 70s music act named Lobo?
I didn't know that. There
are some song titles from Lobo that I think are applicable to Auburn football.
Okay.
All right. So, like, for instance, I think Payton Thorne's anthem for this weekend might be the number one hit Lobo ever had, which is "I'd Love You to Want Me." I think that would probably be fitting, right?
Sure.
And then, of course, Hank Brown might have his anthem, which is "Let It Be Me."
Okay.
That's on Lobo's greatest hits collection. Of course, the entire team, regardless of who's at quarterback, the entire team might be asking you, "Will you still love me tomorrow?" That's one of Lobo's greatest hits. And then, let's say Payton doesn't start the entire game. As he's heading over to the sideline, he might say to the coaches, "Don't tell me good night." Those are some of the greatest hits of the 70s music act Lobo as Auburn prepares to play New Mexico.
One thing I can always count on with this show is you will always help me become more cultured, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, everywhere. It's everybody after you finish the show, they're gonna go search out Lobo music.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Did you know that that New Mexico's football stadium for 2 years, 79 and 80, hosted the D2 national championship game?
No, in New Mexico.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to give you. There's also been 3 significant concerts held at their stadium. They just call it University Stadium.
Okay.
They had a name till a couple of years ago, but it's just University Stadium now.
How original.
Of these 4, who did not play at University Stadium?
Okay.
All right. Aerosmith, Metallica, Santana, or the Rolling Stones?
Is Santana a real thing? I've never heard of Santana, so I'll say them. Oh, no. Did I say something bad?
Yeah.
What did
Zach.
I just say?
Yeah, Zach, Santana's a real band. You don't know who Carlos Santana is.
No.
You don't. You don't know who Carlos Santana is.
What did Carlos Santana do?
Why am I so? You know what? It's my fault. This is my fault. I allow myself to be surprised.
Why would I know any of these? I don't know any of these songs.
You know Smooth, his collaboration with Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. It was like the song of the year in the year 2000.
Smooth. I see it. It's his number 2 song according to this quick Google search.
You know that song. You've heard Santana. You've heard Santana in an elevator, or you've heard it in a grocery store, or you've heard him somewhere along the way. He's had a 50-year music career. I almost want to pause the show so you can listen to Carlos Santana.
I have heard Smooth. I just muted myself and played part of it. I have heard Smooth.
Okay. One of the most gifted guitar players we've had. No, he played University Stadium.
Who didn't, to answer the question?
Aerosmith has not played University Stadium. Metallica, Santana, and the Rolling Stones all have. So there you go. The Lobos have some history in their football stadium.
What's the best concert you've ever been to, Bradlaw?
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. Where'd you see him
Springsteen. I saw him in Duluth, Georgia in 2002.
Oh, okay.
It was the night after the Grammys. I think it was the Grammys. Are the Grammys in what time of year are the Grammys? It was like the night after, and he had not won anything. So he comes out on the stage, and the first thing he says is, "I'd like to thank absolutely nobody." And the place went nuts, and for 3 hours, the man did not stop. He was
sweet.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How about you?
Haven't been to many. Shocker. Probably Maroon 5.
Okay.
I like them a lot. I think Adam Levine's great.
Yeah.
So probably them.
All right. I bet that's good. I bet that's high energy, and I bet that's a crowd.
Yeah. Saw him where it was Phillips at the time. Now I think it's State Farm where the Hawks play. But yeah, it was great. It was great.
Good.
Sure.
I saw John Mayer in Birmingham a few years ago. He was good too.
Got it.
Too. I haven't been to a ton either, but all right.
That's not my thing. Like, there's not many bands I would actually like choose to go see. Like, Coldplay came to Birmingham when I was in college, and I regret not going.
Yeah, they put on a sensational show.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about their music, it doesn't matter. Their show is dynamic.
Yeah, Coldplay and Mumford and Sons are probably the two other bands that I would like really go out of my way to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Michael Franti, who did the New Shoes song, he opened for John Mayer in Birmingham, and he was very good. I wish we had seen more of him.
Got it.
So,
all right. All right.
All right. Barner Supply Company. We just pause the show here and tell you about Barner Supply Company. Take advantage of this deal. These are hats, shirts, like the hat in the background there, like this koozie right here.
Man, how cold is your drink right now?
Let's see. I put this in here earlier today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's ice cold.
Wow.
That is ice cold still.
Wow.
You can get one for free at barnersupply.com. When you buy a hat and you go to checkout and use promo code Village Vice, no spaces, put it all together, Village Vice.
Yes.
You're going to get a free koozie with the purchase of a hat. Put them both in your cart, apply the promo code. Cost of the koozie goes to nothing. Listen, it's almost gift-giving season. So birthdays, anniversaries, holiday time, stock up, load up on quality merchandise made by wonderful Auburn people at barnersupply.com.
I love that. Is it time for the 6-pack?
I think it is time for the 6-pack.
Woo! Let's hit it. Let's go.
Pretty entertaining slate. We're going to start with 20th ranked Arizona at 14th ranked K-State, a Friday night game. Kansas State, a 7-point favorite at home. Tells you these teams are fairly evenly matched.
Yeah, I will go with Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Arizona wins outright.
I like Arizona a lot. I like their offense. I like Noah Furtado is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Would love to see, like in the SEC, how would he be? Where would he be among SEC quarterbacks?
I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him to have a full-fledged opinion. I do think he's good just by seeing him play a little bit against New Mexico earlier this year. That's really the only time I've seen him, but they look like a good squad.
K-State defense a lot different than New Mexico's defense. I'm going to switch my pick. I'm switching. Kansas State is boring. They are vanilla. But doggone, they're tough and they get it done.
They're mean, violent at the point of attack. No question. I don't think it's a bad pick. I'm just taking Arizona.
All right, fair enough. How about Alabama at Wisconsin? Alabama, a 16-point favorite on the road at Camp Randall.
Yeah. I took Alabama earlier in the week. They were 14.5, and so I jumped all over that. Yeah. This to me is a game that people want to make it like it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
And I just don't see the path to Wisconsin doing that. It could be close. And then in the third quarter, the start of the fourth quarter, Alabama just busted open. That's kind of my prediction on this one.
That's kind of what they did against South Florida. They kind of slopped around for a while against South
it looks
Florida.
Like they whooped South Florida, and they really didn't until the fourth quarter.
Kind of blew it open that's a good point. I saw a funny video of like, wait till you see our fourth quarter, and the Alabama guy's like, that's cute. You think your fans will still be there in the fourth quarter?
Oh, nice.
A little surprised that's 16. That's a high number, but
I think Alabama wins by 17 or more. Like, I don't think that's crazy.
All right. Third in our Village
Vice. What'd you pick?
Earlier in the year.
You were about to just go by and not make a pick.
I guess you're right. I was going to pick Wisconsin. If you had asked me a month ago to pick Wisconsin, they've looked pedestrian in their first two games. I don't know that they're man enough to take down Alabama in this game.
Even at home. I just don't buy it.
Yeah. LSU at South Carolina. This is one of the most intriguing games of the weekend because South Carolina looked fantastic against Kentucky. LSU's working on their running game, and they're a 7-point favorite in Columbia.
To me, I think LSU is the better team. I think it's the better roster. I think there's a better coach. I think the quarterback's better. So give me LSU. You
like LSU? There's something about that home team. Like I picked Kansas State as the 7-point favorite at home.
Yeah.
I'm even as a 7-point underdog at home. Those Carolina fans do a good job of bringing it, regardless of what their record or history.
We saw that a few years ago when Auburn went there. Yeah.
So I think I'm going South Carolina, and then you just wait for all the national storylines now about Shane Beamer in South Carolina. if they win this game. They are back, and they're the new Cinderella if they win this game.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I hope it happens. I think that'd be great. And then it's interesting what happens in Baton Rouge with them getting 2 losses already. That'd be a national storyline as well.
You're right. Hey, before we get into the second half of our Village Vice 6-pack, can you tell our good friends about Roback? You look so good with your hoodie on today.
Hey, I tell you what, I actually got my I got an order from Roback in yesterday. I got the 2 Auburn shirts, Brad. Nice. I got the old school Aubie repeat, and then I've got the Jordan Hare. I actually was wearing the Jordan Hare Stadium one earlier. I had a thing I went to earlier, and I wore it. So, they've got the Auburn collection. I ordered both shirts. I mean, that's how much we believe in it. I used promo code VICE20 to get 20% off my order, as well as these hoodies that are super, super comfortable. They've got hats and shorts and pants. They've got everything. But it's become my favorite brand to wear. And I think if you try it, you'll agree. So head over to roback.com, RHOBACK.com, and use promo code VICE20, and you'll get 20% off your order. And it supports the show. We appreciate you doing that.
That's right. Great stuff for the men and the women. Their women's gear is top notch as well. So make sure you take advantage of that. All right, Village Vice 6-pack. Texas A&M is at Florida. What a compelling! We have a really good Saturday of games. Aggies and Gators. Texas A&M a 3.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, I took Florida on this one. Don't feel super great about it, but I do think there's more pressure on Florida and Billy Napier right now. Billy Napier, if you want to stay in the SEC, you got to win this game.
Yeah,
you got to win this game. And I think he knows that. I think A&M is super beatable. I don't think they're as good as a lot of people thought. Not that Florida is anything to write home about, but I'm gonna go. I'm going with Florida on this one. Just a gut feeling here.
It's absolutely danged if you don't. It's not exactly it's not going to get him off of him if he wins this game. But for a while it could, because they play this is Florida pronouns, pal. They play Texas A&M and then Mississippi State and then a bye week and then UCF. If they start, what would that be? 4-1?
He keeps his job.
He keeps his job?
Yeah.
Even though they go Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State after that. Florida State's now a winnable game.
Florida State's a winnable game. Kentucky's a winnable game. Yeah. LSU loses to South Carolina. Absolutely, they can win that game.
Yeah. All right. I like that. So things could start to turn a little bit for Billy Napier.
Yeah, G5 Billy, he's got a shot.
G5 Billy.
But he's got to win this week. He's got to win this weekend.
Washington State is at Washington.
Who'd you pick? Oh, you keep not picking.
You're right. I'm sorry. I picked South Carolina in their game. I will take there's something about the home team. I'll go Florida as well.
Okay.
I will go Florida. I'm just
first one we agree on, right?
I think we agreed on Alabama, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's right.
I'm just not there yet with Texas A&M. I'm not quite on board with what they're doing yet.
Yep.
It's weird that the Apple Cup is this week. It shouldn't be this second week in September, but it is. Washington State at Washington.
What is your favorite thing to eat involving apples? Is it an apple pie?
No.
Is it like an apple tart?
I don't like warm fruit pies. I don't like warm fruit, period.
I'm not a warm fruit guy either outside of like banana pudding.
That's fair. Yeah,
I like warm banana pudding. I like cold banana pudding too, but
banana pudding is better warm than cold, though. I'm with you on that.
I think it's the impact of the wafer that's warmed up that really sets it apart.
Sure. And the amount of vanilla. You need a good rich vanilla flavor.
Yep.
I think just a straight up, Honeycrisp apple. Just a good raw apple.
Really? The apple and caramel together creates a really special combo that I don't think's talked about enough. And so I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, I think Oregon destroys Oregon State.
Next time you have a party, well, I'm talking about Washington State, not Oregon State. Because it's the Apple Cup.
My bad.
But that's okay, though. Nobody's paying attention to that. Nobody cares what we think about the Apple Cup. Next time you have a party and you're going to put together like a tray of little finger foods, slice up an apple and wash your apple slices in Sprite.
Okay.
A little lemon lime, with that, and then you have caramel and.
I think Sprite Zero, or it's called Sprite Zero Sugar now, which is dumb.
I agree.
Nobody asked for that rebrand. That's fine. It's like now you just wanted to make it look more like Sprite. I hated that move.
Uh-huh.
But I think Sprite Zero or Sprite Zero Sugar is the perfect soft drink.
There you go. Well,
It
then
contains the 3 ideal traits of the perfect beverage.
And that would be?
Cold, crisp, refreshing.
Okay. I like that.
Not anybody asked.
I like that you didn't hesitate at all. Like you knew your 3 tenets of a perfect soft drink. You knew them just like that.
Beverage as a whole.
Okay.
Beverage.
Love it.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to the last one. Auburn and New Mexico. Auburn's 28-point
I think
favorite.
Oregon whoops Oregon State.
Sure. I do too. Although they're only like a 14-point favorite. They're not as big a favorite as you would think.
Yeah.
I like Washington, by the way. The Michael Penix effect is remarkable. They lose a really special quarterback talent and a few other players too. And now they're only a 4.5-point favorite at home over Washington State. I think they get it.
I mean, they lost him. They lost Roma Dunze. They lost Patriot legend Jalen Polk. I mean, they lost a lot of pieces for sure.
Yeah, you got it. All right, Auburn and New Mexico. Your final thoughts about this game here on Village Vice?
Yeah, Auburn a 28-point favorite. I've been all over the place with scores that different radio shows and podcasts that have asked me to pick this. I've been all over the place. I don't know what to expect because a lot of it depends on like what Auburn wants it to do. Offensively, do they want to slow the game down and run the ball and be boring, or do they want to still try to be who they want to be and stretch the field vertically? And are they able to do that or not? Who's at quarterback? And if Hank gets more reps in the first half, do they ease him in and hand it off? Like there's so many things that can kind of be impacted by this. So I don't really know, but I mean, I think 28-point spread is fair. My gut says Auburn covers if they want to, but I do think New Mexico scores. Like if you told me New Mexico scored 17 in this game, that wouldn't shock me. And so then like, what would Auburn have to score then, Mr. Math Man? Yeah. It's like, I don't know if they get there or not. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. I think they do. I'm going to pick Auburn. I'm even with the number because I think that you said it. Do they want to be different than who they want to be, or do they want to be who they want to be? Which sounds a little Yogi Berra-ish, but I just think that if you want your offensive identity to be something, then that's how you have to play. You get in a real big situation. You get in a pickle if you try to be who you are not. And if that's who they want to be, unless
you got 1 more week to try it. You've got 1 more week to try to be this team that you want to be, and then I think you got to rely on the running game.
And then you'd have to adjust, right? But I think my opinion is I think we see that. We see them try to be the same passing team. So, I think they'll do it.
All right, I'm about to go listen to Santana. So, I think that about does it for today's show.
You're going to love it. Thanks everybody for commenting and subscribing and liking the video as always. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.